my name is Adam Kout. I'm driver of Hyundai Janík Motorsport in TCR Eastern Europe, and now I will show you my favorite places on Autodrome Most. Now we are in the first chicane on the Most circuit. It's after the start and finish straight. We have to brake very late here and stay on the right side after the right corner to have a good exit for the next straight. Now we are in the fastest corner on the Autodrome Most. Very late braking, one downshift and then on the throttle, and you can go on the curb as far as you can and take as much speed as you can to the next straight. We are in the series of the 3 corners known as Matador. Very late braking to the right corner, then you have to stay inside in the left one to be good prepared to the right third corner, which is full throttle, and take as much speed as you can to the last straight under the paddock. Those were my favorite places on Autodrome Most. I hope you enjoy it and see you in the race. Bye!
So we are back on the grid with the Formula 4 Central European Zone, third race of the weekend. We had the first one yesterday on a dry track with a little drizzle in the air. And the second one today in the morning in full wet. And we're going back to dry for today's race. However, it's not been dry for so long. We've had a Renault Clio Cup race in between them and also Max Formula. So the track has already dried up and also rubbered in a little bit. But still, the grip on offer might not be as great as the drivers might be expecting. So, potential for an exciting one definitely still remaining. And we, of course, have got the drivers lined up on the starting grid. It was a very interesting fight in the first race today. That means second this weekend, because we had actually Jense Motorsport guys, Ethan Ischer and Renaud Francot fighting it out for the victory and then ending up in the gravel trap together. Luckily, both of them managed to go through that and get back on track. But they did have a bit of a word together after the race. And now they are getting ready for the third one. They are, again, side by side each other on the front row. Ethan Ischer on pole position yet again. He scored both victories this weekend, and Renaud Francot, the championship leader, will be looking to actually snatch that first place from him finally at the third attempt here in Most. Row number 2, Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen. He had trouble earlier on today and could not really set the start of the race together with the rest of the pack. He did actually then join the field after a couple of laps, but now he is on the grid in third. Alongside him, Michael Sauter. That has already been a up and down weekend for the young Swiss driver. Behind them, first of the 3 Czech drivers in fifth, starting number 6, but position number 5 for Miroslav Mikeš, Sape Motorsport. Alongside him on row number 3, Oliver Michel, Hungarian driver, and then row number 4, 2 Czech newcomers, Jan Rieger and Max Karhan. We are now setting off for the formation lap, 4.2 kilometers. That's the track distance, or track length to be specific. Of course, the race distance still the same as usual, 25 minutes. So Now drivers working on their tires, on their brakes to get temperature into them, keep it actually even, and of course get themselves in the best possible position for the race start, because we've already seen a couple of incidents here this weekend. It's quite a long run down to the first corner, and then you have got that tight opening chicane, which is definitely incident prone. So far we have not had any major crashes, which is good, and we would like that to remain exactly like that. However, we've had bumps here and there, we've had incidents, and exactly in this place there was the teammate collision of the top two drivers, Ethan Ischer and Renaud Francot, earlier on today in the second race of the weekend, both skipping across the gravel trap. Final two corners left. This time we will start the race from the grid, so standing start. No safety car trickery needed, with the track being completely dry. The red lights are on, and away we go for the final time this weekend in Most. And Ethan Ischer immediately trying to cover off his teammates. Renaud Francot under pressure from Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen. Side by side they will come into the first corner. Jacobsen wants to score a strong result to top the weekend with, and he comes through to snatch second from Francot. Sauter fourth. No, he's dropped behind Mirek Mikeš. Mikeš up by one place, so he goes into fourth, and he's now attacking Renaud Francot himself. Great fight for the podium places immediately. Michael Sauter remaining close behind, with Oliver Michel also following. This is a very close battle. Jan Rieger then fighting with Max Karhan. This time it is the black car of Jan Rieger. That's prevailing over the course of the first lap of the race. Michael Sauter trying to get back up into his position that he lost at the start, following Mirek Mikeš. And around the last couple of corners we go, with Ethan Ischer still leading. He performed a perfect getaway, immediately covered his teammates who had the fight of their own, and now Mirek Mikeš wants to have more of that, and he comes around the outside. Ooh, but he goes late on the brakes. Will he manage to make it stick? No, and he comes under pressure from Michael Sauter. Unlucky for Mirek Mikeš. He was overly eager, but now he's slotting in front of the red and white car of Sauter Engineering. Behind them in the ideal line performance, Gender Racing Team, Oliver Michel. Sauter, look how close he is to Mirek Mikeš. Trying to make a move, but this is not a place where you can easily pass. But Mirek Mikeš comes under pressure, makes a mistake, and allows Michael Sauter alongside. Who comes first into the view? There's three Enza cars, and it's still somehow Mirek Mikeš. Wonderful stuff from the Czech driver. Behind them, Honza Rieger slotting alongside, but now Sauter is through on Mikeš. Michael Sauter up by 1 place as he overtakes Mirek Mikeš. And we have got Oliver Michel still in front of Jan Rieger. Max Karhan trying to stay together with them. There he goes in his Jenzer car. Ethan Ischer opening up a lead of about 2 seconds. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, 1:33.3. Renault Frankot trying to put more pressure on Bjerre Jacobsen. And Ethan Ischer, he's just disappeared. He's not there anymore, he just left with the race lead. Don't worry, he didn't leave the race itself. He just took the lead at the start and he's trying to run away with it immediately and leave it for his teammates to sort this situation out between themselves. So Bjerre Jacobsen, he has been rather unlucky so far this weekend. And now he wants to make strong impression and bring home a good result. Ischer still having the measure of the rest of the pack, and he's already opened up nearly 4-second lead. Amazing stuff from the young Swiss driver. Sauter holding on to 4th from Mikeš, 0.6 of a second between them. Michel then 6th, Rieger 7th, and Max Karhan also following them with a gap of 1.5 seconds. But he's just set his personal best, and he was faster than the 3 drivers in front of him, so he's catching up together with them. Fastest overall lap time by Ethan Ischer now, 1:33.2. The only other driver under 1:34 was the championship leader Frankot, who did 1:33.8. But he's still having his teammate Bjerre Jacobsen in front, and he has to deal with the situation that he's actually following him now. He would definitely love to get ahead. He needs to work through that. They're actually choosing quite an interesting line into the left-hander there, sticking to the inside line from the long left-hander, that is turn 3, and then cutting across the track to actually try and make the car in the braking zone pointing straight ahead as much as they can, to avoid braking with steering lock applied, in order to improve the chances not to lock the tire while braking. 4.6, that's the gap that Ischer already has over Bjerre Jacobsen. Rieger piling on pressure on Michel. 4/10 between them across the line the last time out. So similar gap to what these two have between them. Isher extending to 5.3, Frankot half a second behind Bjerre Jacobsen. How about Rieger dropping down a little bit, dropping behind, but still 9/10. That's still very close indeed, and the fight between the two is still very much on. We've done 7 minutes of this race, 5 laps. And Ethan Isher has set yet another fastest lap of the race, 1:33.2. Also, Bjerre Jacobsen has improved, and he set his personal best, 33.9. He's also dropping under 94 seconds. Renaud Frankot was actually over it now with 1:34.1 as he was dropping a little further back. Beautiful shot from the drone of that bit of the track that remains a little hidden from the view usually. And the situation between the two Yenzer cars still undecided. It's been a pretty mixed up season. Renaud Frankot came to Most as the championship leader, but so far he's been losing to Ethan Isher in all of the races. Ethan Isher scored the pair of victories to open the season with in Hungary. And once it was Michael Sauter second, the other time it was actually Renaud Frankot. Then came the Red Bull Ring round, and the only entry of the American driver James Agozi, who took victories in both of the races and then left. And in Slovakia it was finally time of glory for Renaud Frankot, 2 victories to his name, while Ethan Isher was 3rd in the race number 1 and then only 6th in race number 2. And that handed the championship lead to Renaud Frankot. Ethan Isher combined it also with a 0-point result in the second race in Austria. So he's been showing great pace, but he definitely needs to improve on his consistency. But the Most round, he is back in his own league, and definitely helping his championship chances. Renaud Frankot really trying to minimize the damage, but now for that to happen he needs to overtake Bjerre Jacobsen. Of course, when it comes to team performances, Yenzer Motorsport, having had multiple cars in the championship, they have been scoring strongly. So 211 points in the lead of the team classification, but 1 point then separating further 3 teams: BHM, Sauter Engineering and Renault Motorsport. We have, of course, had fluctuation all through the season. It's the inaugural season of the Central European Formula 4, and we have not had many cars in the field yet because of all the production troubles for the single-seater maker of the company Tatus. The brand new T421 machine also hitting trouble in the current economical and productional environment. More cars are promised for the future, also more tires. It's not an easy quest, not an easy task to actually build up a new championship. Give it 1, 2, 3 years and we might be finding ourselves in a very, very different situation, and then we'll have a very nice little junior championship for the single-seater hopefuls that have had promising go-karting careers. From here we're going to Brno for the next round, so skipping Slovakia because we've already raced in Slovakia with Central European Formula 4, and then finishing the season off in Hungary at the brand new venue of Balaton Park. Frankot always using a little tighter line through the right-hander. That is the second to last corner. Bjarne Jacobsen always opening that corner a little more, but there is simply nothing to choose between the two. Oliver Michel dropped down the orders. Something happened to the Hungarian driver. We do not have him do we have him still in the race? I don't know. The trouble is that we see already quite a large gap. Are we going to have a fight for second? I know Frankot probably the closest he's ever been in this race. Isher already way ahead of everyone else, so doing everything he needs to do to win this race. Oliver Michel, he already has over a minute of a gap, or did have, and he does not seem to be running anymore. We also do not have any information about him entering the pit lane, so we may have lost him somewhere on the track. Or maybe he just spun and has to keep going with... yeah, I've just seen him on one of the cameras. Oliver Michel. Delayed significantly by some sort of incident. So he's dropped down to 8th, allowing Rieger to 6th and Karhan to 7th. Mirek Mikesh, currently 5th. He lost touch with Michael Sautre, who's running 4th, but still not quite that much ahead of Jan Rieger. This still remains to be the closest fight on track. Just did a little commentary on where everyone is and how everyone's doing. This is the closest fight that is currently happening on the track. Still the fight for second. Not much has changed in it. Not much development, not much action. They're simply following one another. It's definitely not very easy. At least enjoy wonderful views overlooking the middle part of the track. Seven and a half minutes left. Isher leading already by nearly 6 seconds. Frankot 3/4 of a second behind Bjarne Jacobsen. We do not really need to say that. We simply see how far apart from one another they are. Renaud Frankot losing second place at the start and not regaining it ever since. What a mistake from Bjerre Jacobsen, and that now opens the chance for Renaud Franco. This is what he's been waiting for all race long, and finally it comes. Bjerre Jacobsen, while exiting the last corner, he just put two wheels on the gravel. He was simply a little too wide exiting the last corner, and that unsettled his car. He had to slow down, he lost momentum, and that simply opened the door for Renaud Franco. This is what he's been waiting for. And Renaud Franco, the championship leader, is back in the second place. Still, it's coming quite too late for him to have any realistic chances of catching up with the race leader, Ethan Isher. Oh, and similar trouble now exiting the last corner for Oliver Michel. We saw him on one of the cameras skipping across the gravel, and he's not alone. Is there any issue on in the last corner? Because we've just seen a couple more cars doing pretty much the same thing that Bjerre Jacobsen did. And I believe that this time it was the race leader, Ethan Isher. He also put two wheels on the gravel. Luckily for him, he could keep going without any major loss. I don't know, drivers may be losing grip or losing focus towards the end of the race. There's still 4 minutes to do, so let's just focus on those. As they say, it's a bit of a cliche, but it still works. You know, if you want to score anything in motorsport, you have to finish the race first. As Ron Dennis used to say in his days of being the team boss of McLaren Formula One team, he would always say that in order to finish first you need to finish. So if you crash, nobody cares that you've done a great job an entire race, because you've crashed. But the race leader still unfazed by anything, enjoying a large lead over everybody else. Already over 7 seconds, 7.4 in fact, and he is simply way faster than everybody else. 1:34.0 the last time round. Renaud Franco did 1:34.6. Bjerre Jacobsen 1:35.3. Michael Sauter continues in fourth. Mirek Mikesh in fifth. And look at this. That was the situation. That was the moment that cost Bjerre Jacobsen the second place in this race. He achieved an incredible angle, but he managed to collect that. So great piece of car control in the end, but of course that mistake simply cost him the second place today. And he's already losing 2.5 seconds behind Franco. So we simply knew, and everybody knew, that once Franco gets ahead of Bjerre Jacobsen, then Bjerre Jacobsen will rather lose the chances to fight back. Car number 27, Ethan Isher, in the lead. You may see on the left-hand side, on his left tires, that darker stripe. So the tire already suffering degradation and probably blistering a little bit in the middle. That's also done by the fact, or helped by the fact, that the cars are running an incredible camber. towards the end you may start to experience issues with the tires. So loss of grip, the car is sliding a little more, is maybe even more understeery. So you've got to take that into your equation and adjust your driving style to that. We are within the last minute of the race, which means that this might very well be the final lap of the race. Couple more pictures from the drone. Are we going to be able to start another lap, or is this the final one? 10 seconds as we are heading to the final two corners. 5, 4, 3, this is the last lap of the race. Ethan Ischer has been absolutely dominant here in the Czech Republic, in Most, and he opened the season with 2 victories in Germany at Oschersleben, and because we have 3 races this weekend, he simply takes, sorry, not in Germany, but in Hungary at Hungaroring, and now he's taken all 3 victories in Most. It's the 5th victory of his season, and he becomes the first driver to score 3 victories per weekend, of course, at the first chance, at the first opportunity, as this is the first weekend where we've had 3 races. Renaud Frankot was waiting all race long for a mistake of Bjerre Jacobsen, which came a couple of minutes from home, and Renaud Frankot really exploited that situation immediately and moved himself up into second and then ran away with it. Matthias Bjerre Jacobsen therefore finishing 3rd in this race, so podium position anyway for him. Michael Sauter in 4th from Mirek Mikeš in P5, Jan Rieger 6th, and Max Karhan in P7 to complete his first ever single-seater weekend. And then Oliver Michel in 8th with actually quite a large gap to the race leaders. He must have fallen into some sort of trouble, maybe an off-track excursion or a spin or something, but that simply put him out of contention, and he comes home last in 8th. So that's it for Formula 4 Central European Championship. This weekend the trio of races are done and dusted, and there is one final point of the program for us to do, an exciting one, the second Renault Twingo Cup race coming up in a couple of minutes. So thank you so much that you're together with us, and with the results, it is for now a very warm goodbye.